for just a split second, did I get the wrong channel? So I gotta tell you guys, today's video, it's not gonna be for everybody. In fact, if you are a minimalist, you may want to respectfully click out because this video will not be for you. It's all about layering and concealing. You'll see in just a moment, but there's an area in my basement I had to conceal. I'll explain why in just a moment. So this look isn't going to be for everybody, but maybe you can take, my hope is, bits and pieces of things you may like, and maybe you can replicate that in your home in a much different way. But there was a purpose for this whole look. You'll see. Before we get into the video, I want to mention one thing. At the end of this video, please watch it. For those of you that are going to be embarking on snow and ice, please watch it because something bad happened last week. I want to share it because you guys need to know. Just watch it at the end. All right, let's get into the video.
All right, guys, in today's video, we have a bit of a decorating dilemma. This is the staircase that leads to the basement, and under the staircase is storage area that goes all beneath there. It goes back pretty far. Anyway, the previous homeowners had doors that covered that storage area, but they accidentally took the doors with them. So the question I have is what to do with this area to cover this unsightly space. Now I have this old door here that I found at an antique store, and it's a bit beat up, but I think it just adds character. And I also have this cabinet, and I thought maybe I could do some sort of a layering effect with both of those temporarily until we get some doors built. Next, I would like to add a mirror right there on top of the cabinet to cover that gap. And here's the mirror I'm planning to use. It's sort of an old world looking mirror. I absolutely love this mirror. Now what I'm going to do is place it on top of that cabinet right there, and then we're going to go to the next step. Now panning downward, here is how the mirror looks, and I'm just going to sit it there sort of angled. And then I'm going to take my door and angle it to cover the rest of that space right there. Now, if you've been following me, you may remember this at my other house. I used to have this decorated through the seasons in my sunroom. Now, here I have the door placed, and now I'm going to add a shelf to the door. This shelf is from Hobby Lobby. I got it there a few years ago, and it's also going to conceal some of the scratches on the door. You'll see in just a moment, but now I'm adding a nail. So off camera, I decided it was rather dark in this area. I wanted to lighten it up, and it just so happened that I had a box of these Amazon farmhouse lights that I hadn't used, and so I installed it, and I installed the shelf, and it's wonderful. It lights up the shelf, it lights up the back of the door, it gets light right where I need it. Now I'm going to add this crisscross wall art piece from Hobby Lobby on this wall next to the door. Next, I have this family sign that my daughters picked up for me a few weeks ago at Michael's, and I thought I would hang it right there on the door, right beneath the light. Well, I think that looks pretty cute so far. I really like how the light lights up the sign and the shelf. Now, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, girl, what are you thinking? I don't know about this. I don't know. But hang with me. Just hang with me a few more minutes. I think you may start to see my vision come to life. Now, here you see I've got a cute little wreath. This is from TJ Maxx, and I'm going to hang it right there. Stay tuned. Here we go. Wreath hung. I really love how it adds texture to this piece. It adds some color. I just love it. Love, love, love. All right, next we need to address this space underneath the staircase. It's driving me nuts, so what I'd like to do is add some greenery. Here you can see I've added one. Next I'm going to add two more, and I'm going to simply let them dangle down towards the mirror. To this, I'm going to add some pastel ivy, and I'm going to mix the different textures to give it, I don't know, a more authentic look. And now I've got this galvanized bucket. To that, I'm going to add another greenery pick. To that, I'm going to add a bird. Super cute. Super, super simple. So I'm trying to keep my color palette rather neutral. So I'm using a lot of greens and grays and whites and creams. And I think it works well together. And this is where I've decided to sit Little Miss Birdie. And that's all I'm going to put on top of the cabinet because I simply don't have a lot of room there since I've got the mirror angled. All right, now let's add some packing material and make it look like a nest right there on top of the candle holders. I'm also going to add some on top of this pedestal. Let's add a wreath with some sweet little bird eggs. A garden ball, let's sit that right next to it to add some extra texture. And here's what it looks like. Do you think I'm going to stop here? Not a chance. I added a couple baskets and added a throw blanket. Now, as I stood back and I looked at this display, I thought to myself, what is missing here, Liz? What is missing? Something just doesn't look right. Well, for me, what was missing was color. So I picked up these beautiful spring flowers at Walmart, and I thought to myself, this is exactly what I need. Let's try it. So I began plugging and playing, adding flowers where I felt they needed to go, and that really did the trick for me. And I thought, well, why not pick these off and add them to my bird display? Why not, right? Now I decided to pick the leaves off and add those to the bird display as well. Another textural, colorful element. Now I decided to add these cute little green flowers to my bird display. I also decided to add some of those bendable wire branches that I got on Amazon to give it a more, woodsy outdoorsy look, and then I added some pip berries to complete my display. Now to finish off this look, I decided to hang a grapevine basket from this doorknob, and I added a few greenery picks. I think this look really transformed this area. It concealed the area I didn't want to be seen temporarily, and I really like this look. It reminds me of something I saw in an antique store, and that is where I got my inspiration for this entire look.
What I want to share with you guys is do not attempt to drive on snow and ice. Just don't do it. It's not safe, especially ice. So last week we had a snow. I think we got 3 or 5 inches. We got about 5 inches out where we are, and we weren't expecting that. So my daughter was working. She works about an hour from where we live, and to get to us, she has to take back roads. So I was calling her at 3 o'clock in the afternoon saying, look, we have sports cars, and she's driving one of them. She was driving my husband's car, and I kept telling her, I said, those cars do not do well on ice and snow. You just cannot leave when the snow is coming down crazy, or you won't make it home. And she, for whatever reason, she didn't get off work till about 6:30. And she kept saying, Mom, it's just flurries out here. But where we were, it was like snow, bad visibility. I said, honey, you've got to take the back roads to get to us. You're going to go through that, and you will not make it home. Well, you know, kids just don't listen to their parents. And so anyway, long story short, she calls me, I think, or texts me at 6:30. She says, I'm leaving. And so I was like, dear Jesus, please put a bubble around her and get her home safe and sound to us and whatever. Well, she was taking forever to get home, and I knew it was because she was going to have to drive really slow. Anyway, long story short, the phone rings, and she is hysterically crying, can barely breathe or even get her words out. And she said, they just called 911. I've been in an accident. Can you please come to me? And we're like, well, where are you? And I was panicking. Panic mode, let me tell you. So anyway, we mapped her location. We get there. As we're approaching, we see a police officer in the road, flares. We see fire trucks leaving. We see my husband's car in the forest next to a tree. She tells me on the phone she got in an accident, lost control of the car. It spun in the snow. She couldn't even correct it. It was just like ice, sliding on ice. Hits a tree, and anyway, she's stuck in the tree. I'm stuck in the car. Can't breathe because she has asthma, and the airbags deployed due to the impact, and like the powder or whatever was getting in her chest. And so anyway, we drive. It took us 30 minutes to get there because the visibility was so bad. We get there, the car is sort of in the forest next to a tree. And the police officer said they just took her by ambulance. And we're like, where? Oh my gosh, you know. And then we had the tow truck guy came. He was having to pull, we didn't know where the car keys were. They were having to pull it out of the forest. It was a nightmare. So we ended up driving to the hospital, and first of all, she's okay. Thank God. It could have been so much worse. But my whole point in sharing this with you is a lot of us are about to get snow and ice, and some people already have. Don't drive. Just don't. Because look what happened. And she said, Mom, I was driving really slow, and the police officer was there, and he said, yeah, I was sliding all over the road myself. So yeah, just not a good idea. I told my kids, I said, nobody's going to work the next few days. Don't even ask. So the good news is when we got to the hospital, they did a CAT scan, and she has a concussion, and she got neck burns from the seat belts and a neck sprain. So like I said, it could have been so much worse, so much worse. So thank God. But anyway, don't do it. Just don't. It scares me to death. And we're supposed to get snow and ice, I think, starting tonight on into tomorrow. So no one's driving in this family. Nobody. One more funny story for you. I think you guys will get a kick out of it. Let's just say last week was crazy town around here. So I can't remember what day it was, but it was later in the week. Maybe it was Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday last week, if I remember. But my daughter calls my husband's cell phone at 1:30 a.m. And she's like, Dad, you need to get up to my room right now. And he said, what's wrong? She's like, Dad, just get up here quick. So I was having a bad night with my knee. So he shot right up the stairs to her room to see what was going on. And I'm hearing, I got up and I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I'm hearing them all talk, and I keep hearing, do you hear that? Do you hear that? All that scratching noises. And so my daughter, all the girls have their own attic space, walk-in attic space. So my husband heard the noises, and he said, oh gosh, we probably have mice in the attic, because we had snow, and so when it's cold, things come in. Well, guess what was in the attic? Just guess. So my husband says, it's probably mice, girls. Don't freak out. I'll run down to the basement. I'll get some sticky traps. I'll put some peanut butter on them. I'll be right back, and hopefully we'll catch whatever's in there. So he does that, and not even 5 minutes after he lays it down on the ground, do they hear flipping and flopping and screeching and noises and scratching. Any guesses what was in the attic? Any guesses? So he opens the door. He said, stay back, guys, stay back. He opens the door. And what does he see? But a bat stuck on the trap. He went right for the peanut butter, guys, and he got stuck. They got video of the bat. I'm not going to share it. I didn't even want to see it. The girls were like, Mom, I'm going to send it to your phone. I said, don't you dare. Don't you dare. I get really weirded out by critters. Mice, snakes, rats, bats, you name it. It gets in my head. I'm like, don't even send it to me. And they're like, Mom, it's making noise. I'm like, I don't want to hear it. Don't even tell me. I don't want to see it. Don't want to hear it. So anyway, long story short, I called the exterminator the next day. He comes out. He removes the bat. He probably came in because we had a snow and he was cold. And he showed me where the bat probably got in. So we're going to have someone come out and do some sealing around this house. And yeah, he told me, he did a walk around the house. He said, we've got some cracks and crevices bats can get into that need to be sealed, and it's probably going to cost $1,800. He said that's probably not even going to touch all of the cracks and crevices. And I said, oh my gosh, are you serious? So my husband's like, we're not doing that. We're not going to pay that. I said, oh, yes, we are. He goes, oh, no, we're not. I said, I will pay with it with my YouTube money. And that's that. This girl's going to win the fight. Oh, yes, I am. We will not have bats and rodents and things that creep and crawl through the night. No. I gotta call him today. Just reminded myself. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap up my video for today. Come back and see me Friday. We'll be up to no good. I didn't just say that. I'm just kidding. We'll be up to decorating. It may be good, it may not be good. I don't know. You'll just have to come by and see for yourself. Love you guys. Mwah. Stay warm, stay cozy.